All right, John, the next
Yes.
story comes from our subscriber, beloved subscriber, by the way, one of our regulars.
Art Monso sent us this story, and it is titled, What Do You Mean There's No Crunch? How a Min-Max D&D fanboy derailed a game and killed a group for not being D&D. CW for homophobic slurs. What is CW?
I don't know. Warning, I think it may be.
Oh, maybe a
Contextual.
warning. Content. That's it. Content warning.
Ah,
All
content
right.
warning. All right, nice.
All right.
What do you mean there's no crunch? I had some downtime between Pathfinder campaigns as the normal DM was recovering from a mix of burnout and IRL flu, so I volunteered to play a short game for them. Ball Dogs, a Fate RPG setting. Seeing how burned out everyone was, making the most min-max characters possible and a rules-light game would be fun. Everyone agreed to try it after explaining that it was like Futurama but more cartoony. Come character creation, two of the three players were confused at how free-form the system was. No classes, abstract skill pyramids, character aspects deciding what bonuses they can get and even why they are using strange dice. The third player, who was a drama major, got their characters finished early, a squirrel thing, similar to Ratchet from Ratchet and Clank, in terms of being a combat engineer who has one too much things explode near him to work for the bigger delivery corps. So he is referring to Fate Core.
Yeah.
That's a nice
Sounds
system.
like it. That's your system that you play one of your live game in, right?
Yeah, we have already finished campaign, which is just a shame because this is a nice system for theater of the mind. It works very well. The other two were trying to figure out how to min-max for the system that was very much not built for it. Have trouble getting how freeform everything was. That the stunts were fits, and nothing is as set in stone as other games. I think the thing I poorly explained out of all of this was the fate tokens, which will come into play later. Those fate tokens, they give you advantage. You can add some bonuses to your roll, or you can re-roll completely. But
Okay.
you have to always have to justify it by your feet. There is, yeah, this is an interesting system which you can implement some things to D&D as well. By the way, some of them I would try. I think maybe for one or two sessions, but I think it's worth trying to check it out. The actor and I got one of them to understand it enough to make a space centaur based off his Pathfinder Centaur Cavalier, who was too big and intimidating to find work on proper freighters. The third player decided, and despite the warning from all of us, he was going to min-max. So how does one min-max in a game as freeform as Fate? He made the most generic character possible. His core aspects for stuff like killer shape, an empty void of nothingness, shapeless. His character was a 2D humanoid silhouette. Okay.
So he's basically a shadow of somebody else.
Or two-dimensional, like cardboard. He is not getting the core concept of Fate. This
No,
is not going
he's
to
trying to beat the system. He's just a like some min-maxers think that they can beat the game. The game is not meant to be beaten. It's meant to be played through. So the more you min-max your character, the more boring of a game you create.
This D&D is all about the TTRPG in general. It's more of about the process, not the end result.
I prefer to play characters that are difficult, challenging to play. I don't want the easy mode.
And Fate Core doubles down on that.
Yeah.
I think he was going for a Slender Man or something, but never got an answer in the confirmative, as he tried to keep it as venge as possible. By the way, in Fate you actually get rewarded by having flaws for your characters, because for that you get fate points. When you use your flaws,
Yeah, that's cool. That
The-
makes the game challenging, which is what makes it fun, at least for me.
Yeah, for example, my character was not able to tell lie at all. He can't deceive. He doesn't. Even his mannerisms were pretty bland as well, giving one-word replies or just pointing. I can't even remember if he gave a reason why his character was even on the crew other than to feel the vines of the galaxy. At this point, we were 2 or so hours in and wanted to start the intro to the game. The warm-up session was the crew getting to meet their boss, get set up with a not at all questionable salvaged ship, and some complementary weapons. And some weapons.
I don't know
Complementary.
what that word is. Complementary weapons, maybe.
Held together by space, duct tape, and prayer. Not complimentary, okay.
No, it sounds like they're like cobbled together weapons, like crappy weapons.
Minimax seemed visible uninterested in any of the RP and out of game, and asked to speed things up as much as possible.
Most min-maxers just want to get to the combat. It's the whole point of them min-maxing their character. So they're not interested in the rest of the game. They just want to get to the next combat so they can beat the DM.
Battles in Fate are all theater of the mind, so there is no tactical thing. Mostly it is cinematic and RP. Even the mission's brief was too long for him, as the other 2 players wanted to ask more questions about the delivery and where they were heading. The mission itself was to collect signage on a package that a delivery crew from 200 years forgot to get the first time around. The company was getting fined by the Galactic Postal Services for the incomplete delivery, and the person who had to sign for it disappearing on a warship that disappeared in battle. Which wasn't too uncommon in an interstellar war where collapsing stars into black holes was commonplace. The ship has reappeared again on the edge of non-habitable space, and the crew were to board to find the guy alive or dead and get him to sign the document. Yeah, it does sound like Futurama.
It does.
Revive the corpse, get him to a temple, just put your name on it here, and you are free to rest in peace. Or taking his hand, putting a pen in it.
Yeah, maybe it's kind of space themed, so maybe you could cast Speak with Dead on them and then have them verbally agree to the signature.
You have to bring notary over there as well.
Yeah, just remember to ask them 4 more questions or they're going to sit there forever waiting for them.
Anyone? Anyone?
Anyone, please. Somebody ask me a question.
The ship in question was full of radioactive zombies caused by the package being a poorly made nuclear-powered lamp. The crew wakes the zombies up, trying to get the emergency status pods in the hopes of finding the guy. Sounds fun, right? Well, 2 out of 3 players would say so. Minimax hate every single moment of it. He hated that I didn't seem to give him as much fate tokens as the others for triggering their aspects.
He didn't have any flaws, and he kept his character super vague, so there was no reason for the DM to give him fate tokens, because he wasn't doing anything.
Anyway, DM decides whom to give fate points. DM is on the board as well as the players are. You don't play against DM in any TTRPG. It is not Olympic Games. You don't play against each other. You play together.
Not this guy.
He is out there playing completely different game. And
Min-Max is edgelord.
It is not for him at all. We tried Fate with a guy who also wanted to tactical battles, and he couldn't figure out what is happening at all. Without VTT, he was clueless about what is happening, and in simplest things, he couldn't figure out anything to get out of troubled situations. I was dancing around the table, trying to show what I'm doing to fees, to mobs, to enemies. He was, I am grappled, so what can I do? I want to drink a potion which makes me ungrappled. You don't have potions. You are grappled as well. Well,
Punch him in the
so
face.
do anything, like figure out what to do. I just used my knee to punch,
Yeah.
between legs of the enemy. He wanted to drink a potion which makes him a grapple for 5 turns. He was grappled for 5 turns and couldn't find the potion because he insisted. And DM said, right, okay, you might have potion of something, maybe. D&D is more universal. You can find, everybody can find something to enjoy in this system. Fate is more niched down. The DM didn't give him as much fate tokens as the others for triggering their aspects, despite playing into his aspect as much as possible, which mind you were generic edgelord fluff.
Yeah. Yep. He's an edgelord for sure.
He hated that there wasn't a proper monster manual to the setting, as he could not visualize the monsters at all, or any kind of feel for them without some kind of stat blocks. His complaining on this ruined one of the planned mini-boss fights that I felt like I did a good job of foreshadowing. The reanimated body of the captions, second in command, and monstrous cat Thor. Like a centaur, but swap horse for cat and make the human part a lot more beast-like. Yeah, he wanted some monster manual and stat block. If he can't...
yeah, because people who want to min-max, they want to beat the enemies, and they can't beat the enemies unless they have meta-knowledge of the things that they're fighting. So this guy is demanding meta-knowledge so that he can more easily just beat the campaign.
And here's how that convo go.
I'm playing the DM, so as you lock the door behind and start to seal it with welding irons, you take note of a buzzing of computers and a holographic map in the center of the room coming in clearer as the pile of dead bodies gain that same sickly green glow as the others that you've seen so far. As they begin to move away from the pile, the corpses start to laugh and wag in glee as the monstrous alien from atop the pile begins to glow. Plasma starts to fill out the bones as it stands on 4 paws and goes for its dual head laser sword. And...
Wait, how can it hold anything in its hand? It's all on 4s.
Okay, let me finish. And his laser is in its right hand as the plasma skin lights up its upper body to see a very cat-like...
Wait. Upper body is cat-like? What about its lower body? Is it not cat-like?
Its lower body is that of a puma, except for the head, like in the description I gave you when you first entered the room.
So, that cat Thor looking thing from earlier, right?
Yes, it's a zombie cat Thor.
It's a zombie cat. We are going full Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
What the hell is a cat Thor? I didn't see anything like that in the Fate core book.
Meta, blue bolts hit him from the sky. That's meta.
Yeah.
No, that's not part of the story. Yeah, so the DM says it's like a centaur, but a cat instead of a horse from the name of it.
Is this some strange homebrew thing?
Fate has you make all your own stuff. Everything is homebrew. In this system, it's kind of the point.
You have to homebrew everything that sucks. At least D&D has illustrations for what the hell you're facing half of the time. I still don't understand what the hell is a gamma zombie anyway.
I don't think he's so angry, though, about the visualization as he is not having a stat block that he can pull apart and min-max his character to. He said at the beginning that this guy kept everything very vague on purpose in his character creation so that he could figure out what these monsters do and then decide what each of his powers does. He's just trying to beat the game and he's ruining it.
And even in D&D, there are certain tables for I, as a DM, make your own stat blocks pretty much sometimes because many people already know the monsters and it is hard for them not to meta when they
Yeah.
meet goblins, and which they have met thousands of times, maybe at least hundreds of times, and they know exactly their AC and what they are capable of and stuff like that. So pretty much always I can use stat block, but I will fudge it a little.
Oh, yeah. I change stat blocks all the time purposely for that. If you have to fight goblins at level 1, I'll leave them alone. But if you're fighting goblins again at level 5, I'm not just having you fight 7 hit points goblins. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give them some kind of abilities. Maybe they get sneak attack, or maybe they get something, more hit points, things like that. So this guy just wants to beat the game. He doesn't care about the game at all. So after your line where he says, what the hell is a gamma zombie anyway? He says, radioactive zombies.
Not a very good description.
So I pulled out my phone and showed him rogue pics of what a cat tar and a gamma zombie were, and it didn't help.
So, spooky, scary skeletons and motherfucking fur. Well, I don't know. And this is why I love fantasy RPGs better than sci-fi RPGs. You don't have to deal with this kind of perverted shit. How is it perverted? I don't understand.
I don't know. This guy just wants the game to be his own way, and he's not going to tolerate anything else.
This is why I like fantasies, he says. Cares a lot what you personally like. There are some people who like sci-fi more, and they want to implement some sci-fi stuff in fantasy as well. For example, we've played Fate. There was a sci-fi technology, at the same time it was in the medieval. And at the same time there was magic, low magic.
Yeah.
But they were also lasers. How about that?
You know what I really like in my TTRPGs? I like to actually play them instead of just having long drawn out arguments with a player about what they like. I just want to play the game.
We can figure out what you like before session in the Brett, and DM can understand if he can implement some things like that. If the rest of the group who like the same thing, but not during the mid-session.
Yeah, I mean, we all agreed to play this game and try it. So just suck it up and play along, and we'll do a mini campaign, and then we'll go back to our normal system, which I think he said at the beginning was Pathfinder. So there's no reason to be just spending all of this game time arguing about what we like and what we don't like, and I can't figure out what a radioactive zombie looks like. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, imagine however you want.
Yeah, however you want. It can be purple, it can be green, it could have an arm coming out of its head, who cares? So Centaur and Actor look at him, Min-Max, for a good bit, and they try to give counterpoints to Fantasy's use of sex. I don't know how we got on the conversation of sex, but the Min-Maxer, yeah, it kind of shifted there. But the Min-Maxer...
No, he told, the Min-Maxer told that it was perverted. I don't understand where he found perverted stuff.
I don't either, because all he did was show him pictures, I assume from he Googled what a cat tor and a gamma zombie would look like and showed them the pictures. Maybe they were, I don't know, maybe they were sexually based pictures that he showed them. But it really didn't have anything to do with the game. He didn't say anything in-game that these zombies were doing anything sexual. So they gave counterpoints to Fantasy's use of sex, but the Min-Maxer shifted the focus back to the game as we were taking too much time away from the game on this nonsense the DM started. The DM didn't start this, he did. By arguing with the DM at every single turn. This took a lot of the air out of an already partially filled flat tire that was this one shot. This was only a one shot. Ridiculous. Oh, man. He spent the whole time arguing over a one shot? The Min-Maxer also tried to abuse the fate tokens as much as possible as they let him take control of the session as the others were using them as intended. For example, the actor used them to better his engineering checks and add more crawl spaces to the ship, and the Centaur used them to re-roll his combat checks or add aspects to otherwise difficult encounters, like well-posted directions in the maze-like hallways or unstable biopacks on the gamma zombies themselves. Min-Max just uses points as soon as they got on board the ship to make it so that none of the party's aspects can be activated, good or bad, and removed the infectious element of the zombie virus on the basics. Like, zombie viruses are so common, we have vaccines or some shit for them. So he's using his, again, he's using his fate tokens to beat the game and eliminate challenges.
This is more of that guy I was talking to you about, who was trying to find a potion who will make him beat the game.
Yeah.
You don't tell what zombies are so common. You can you have to figure out something about your character, not the world around, to get the token and to use a token.
You're not changing the world, you're doing something using your character, their aspects, and their abilities.
Yeah, you're justifying using paid token by your character, not the NPC or anything else.
Yeah. And any points I give to him, I assume he means fate tokens or fate points, mostly to stop him complaining about me never giving him fate points, were used to remove as much challenge as he could from the game. So he's not using them to better his character, he's using them to weaken the world.
Yeah, he's trying to beat fate.
The only creative thing I saw him use his fate tokens for was that he found old weapon bay of the ship, which, due to some stocking error, was full of heavy-duty handheld framers called fireballers. Motorized medieval weapons, chain swords, chain axes, chain maces, and lasers, laser casting bows and crossbows. Yes, we had to stop the game to debate what aspects each weapon had and how much damage each had.
M says which aspects each weapon has. Not discussing it with the players, because the M is interface to the game. He tells the players what the world is, what the weapons are, and you don't debate things like that. You don't spend time debating stuff like that.
This is a one-shot, and they've spent no time playing. They only spend time debating and arguing.
I hate things like that.
Yeah, me too. And the next sentence starts with, "The game slogged." It slogged to a close as the crew had a heroic escape with the signature of the ship's janitor, the only surviving member of the crew, and the guy who ordered the nuke lamp that caused the mess to begin with. Before we even got back to the station, Min-Max had left the table completely, making the wrap-up a bit awkward, but overall it was a good end to the one-shot. A few days later, the old DM and Min-Max were gathered. The two players that enjoyed the game couldn't make it due to life issues, but said they would be okay with playing whatever, right? So they were okay with them playing on even without them because they couldn't make it, to discuss starting back up playing and who would be running the next game. I brought my ideas for expanding on the one-shot or even going into other settings in the Fate Core system. The old DM asked how the one-shot went, and the Min-Maxer cut me off to tell him that
it sucked balls.
and that no one had any fun at all, that the game was a homebrewed mess with unrealistic monsters and blatant furry, I don't know what that is.
Fuckery. Furry
fuckery? Huh? Okay, yeah, maybe. That was clearly sexual, which, now thinking about it, was BS. Coming from the guy who made a Min-Max 9-foot-tall lizard folk main character trait, besides being a murder machine, was trying to keep warm by cuddling with NPCs he was trying to mate with. So he was making it sexual and then blaming the DM.
What can be sexual in cat tour or radioactive zombies? How can you find it?
Yeah, who's having sex with a radioactive zombie?
What is he talking about?
Yeah. I was silent long enough that the old DM, not reading my shock very well, decided to have me skip most of my non-D&D and go to Min-Max's game ideas. He had no interest in running anything at all, but knew it can't be anything other than Pathfinder or D&D, as they were the only good games out there in his opinion. That's not true. Those are just the games he feels like he can beat by min-maxing them. When I came to, I decided to pick the only normal games I had played out there were adventure paths. Kingmaker, the nation builder focus game, Carrion Crown, the horror investigation focus game, and Skull and Shackles, a good old-fashioned pirate quest. The min-max shot every one of them down for not having the spirit of what proper D&D is, and the old D&D had read the mods already and didn't feel like he could play without spoiling them. To make this already long story short, the half-burned out old DM.
Now we are making this story short. All right.
Yeah,
okay.
This is a
After
long
40
story.
minutes of reading.
We're making it short now. The half-burned out old DM ran a game that he wasn't very passionate about. Other players didn't like that they were getting more of the same hack and slash mess like the last game we were in, and were mad when I finally let them know what MinMax had said about the game idea meeting. I think I was the first to leave the campaign, mostly as I wanted to build up shops and townships in the barren wasteland. That was the setting, and MinMax wasn't having any of that at all. Trying to steer the group away from doing anything that wasn't dungeon diving.
He is out there for dungeon crawl. That's understandable. It's just not at the table for him. The Fate Core is definitely not for dungeon crawl at all. It is going to be very boring at this. It is more of a role play, and when there are fights, they are also more of cinematic theater of the mind. The fight is happening in heads.
Yeah, min-max, he just doesn't want to play any game that he can't min-max to the point where his character is untouchable. And then what's the point of playing the game if your character is untouchable?
Maybe not untouchable, but I feel like the min-maxer is out there precisely for dungeon crawl. He doesn't have imagination to roleplay, because we make flawed characters precisely for roleplay, because it makes the game more interesting in this aspect, not in battle aspect, when you suck ass without a very good, properly built character.
You can't min-max roleplay, and you can't min-max storytelling. So the only thing he cares about is combat.
I don't really understand why they want to play D&D though, the dungeon crawlers. Most of computer games are based on that. And you don't have to imagine anything. Many people try to implement roleplay in games, but they fail. They can't get it into the same level as D&D can make it very simply.
Yeah, if there are games for min-maxers, I know we kind of talk bad about them sometimes, but it's because they're shoving themselves into narrative games and they want to min-max the narrative game. If you want to be a min-maxer, then join short campaigns, monster of the week type stuff where there's really no character development. You just go from monster fight to monster fight week after week. There are campaigns for that, but why join a group that wants to roleplay and then ruin the game for them?
Dive into dungeon, battle some monsters, get back to the store, stuff up, get level up and long rest, back to the dungeon. That's all the game you need. That's pretty much understandable.
He needs to find a DM running the old original version of Temple of Elemental Evil. You only come out of the dungeon to resurrect players that got killed, and then you go back in.
Diablo.
It is. It's basically Diablo with dice. The game didn't last long after that, as Min-Max's mood swings were getting on everyone's nerves. Yes, Min-Max did apologize for the steering and lying about what the other group members' opinion of the one shot was, dealing with his bipolar and his girlfriend problems, and he took them all out on the rest of us. However, he didn't apologize for shouting homophobic slurs due to his Christian beliefs, didn't let him tolerate anything viewed as sinful lifestyle choice. I don't really like it when people just blame being a Christian for their bad behavior. You do not have
It's the
to.
worst thing.
If you're running around yelling homophobic slurs, you're probably not a Christian. I do not play with him and generally avoid him when I see him on the streets as much as possible, as his pure Christian lifestyle ended up getting him fired from his job, his girlfriend kicking him off of their lease, and homeless on the streets as he burns bridge after bridge in the name of God. I'm not sure that we need the TLDR after all of that, do we?
No. It's way too late for TLDR.
Yeah.
For that, but
Yeah.
This being said, I think that we said everything we could about this player.
I think so. I think so.
I didn't see that this homophobic slurs. I think he just cut them out.
I think he did. I think he cut them out, but unless that whole furry fuckery thing was meant to be a homophobic slur, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't get that. But
It doesn't sound like that.
no.
Oh, we have an actual from Artman. He is giving us some context in
Okay.
comments.
The pics were not sexual. They were just furry adjacent and gay. So he used a word that is like it, but changed the I with an A. Okay. So, yeah, he was just trying to change the word because he didn't want to use the actual word that the guy used. If he's claiming to be a Christian and then abusing people over their life choices, he's doing it wrong.
He is doing bad job.
Except ourselves. We should focus on that. There's plenty enough in me to judge. I don't need to be judging anyone else.
Teru. On this beautiful note, we will wrap up today. I think
Yes.